Hello, my name's Steve Stewart. I'm the founding consultant of Rick Consulting, and this is Vricipedia, your guide to children's services recruitment and retention. Chapter 9 is on the DFE workforce census return from September 2022, which came out in February 2023. 9.2 is on regional aspects on that. But the actual final dots that are going to go after here, I don't quite know yet. But these are a series of regional snapshots of East Midlands. The reason why I don't know is because I intended to do all the data crunching and then do all the recording and then work it out like that. But in actual fact, the data is so nuanced and so different that I was conscious is that I would forget those differences and nuances before I came to record. So that's why I'm doing them now. So the East Midlands, what can I tell you? So I've highlighted here. Right, so this is a subsection of the DFE return. I've made it a little bit more user-friendly. I've filtered it and I've changed the titles to make them more accessible. I've also extrapolated a lot of information as well, but the DFE core data is in black and the extrapolated information, which we'll come on to later, is in green, okay? But what I've done here is I've highlighted two lines. This line here is your 2019 figures, and this line here is your most recent 2022 figures. And you will see that they are really, really closely aligned. Is it the number of social workers, 2,310 in 2019, 2,323 in 2022. You'll see that your agency usage, 428.9 in 2019, 429.6. It really is, it's almost like someone's trying to copy it. Your number of leavers, 350, 380, bit of a differential, but still in the same kind of ballpark. And then the percentages that are covered with agency staff and whatever are all very similar, all in the same ballpark. So you might think, to an untrained eye, is that, what we've done is that we've moved to a pre-COVID situation. That's our equilibrium. That is our normal. And we return our new normal, the old normal. That's so great, isn't it? No, because if you just move a couple of columns across and you come to the columns in green as well, is you also notice that you've got your vacancy FTE, and whereas in 2019 you had 336.1 vacancies in the East Midlands, you're now moving that up to 524.5. That's an increase of over 50%, well over 50% at that. So, and then you can see your vacancy increase, which is an extrapolated figure, so you can start to see trends and as to what your direction of travel. Ignore the bottom figure because that's started from 0 the year before, but you can see that this is decreases by 154 and decreases by 61 and decreases by 4.8, and then it starts to turn around and your vacancies now, your vacancy increase is 45 and 138. What you'll also notice is the figure that I think is one of the most important when it comes to drivers in this market, which is what I call your overall shortfall. And your overall shortfall basically is the number of vacancies you've got and how well they are supplied by agency staff. Yeah, how well can you fill the chairs? How well can you fill the gaps on both a temporary and permanent basis? And what you can see here was, in actual fact, is that your overall shortfall dropped, and in actual fact, you had an oversupply of social workers. There's an oversupply of social workers, and it's actually this oversupply of social workers corresponds from the time that your vacancies start going down. Coincidence? I think not, yeah? But then what you start to see is that has started to change, and now your overall shortfall is going up, yeah? And in actual fact, is that overall shortfall might be an issue with vacancies being filled. With your recruitment, it's an issue with your retention, with the number of leavers, but not necessarily, because your leavers aren't necessarily increasing that much. But what you are seeing is that you're not able to cover these posts more regularly with either temp or perm, so you've got an overall shortfall. And it might actually be that you're losing agency staff to they're not wanting to be social workers or go and work elsewhere or go and work by different means or whatever. But what you can see is that overall shortfall is adding to your vacancy problem, I would suggest. I'd also suggest it's probably adding to your absentee rates issues as well. So if we actually go forward, you can see that your establishments has been increasing year by year, little by little, and in 2019 it's only 31.5 an increase in your establishment. But after a couple of years, it's actually tailing off the amount of extra posts that you're creating within the service across the region. So then we come on to our more target base. So what are your targets for the next couple of years? And these are these kind of figures here that you've extrapolated. And the first is appointments to be made in 2023. That's the short form, is that that's the amount of appointments that you need to make in 2023 if you want to be fully staffed fully staffed by the end of the next reporting period. So that would be in the 12 months from last September to the September coming. And you will see that in the East Midlands, to do that, you would need to move to that full staffing situation, make 905.2 appointments. All other things being equal. And that figure is made up of your 524 vacancies you already have, the 380 leavers that you had last year that we're going to extrapolate and say you're going to have the same amount this year, even though that figure's going up, and also your increase in establishment, which is 14, which was lesser last year. That might go up, that might come down, but I don't think it's going to. So we use that figure, again, add them all together, turn the handle, bing, 905.2. Is that realistic? Hell no. So what is the kind of figure that you do want to need to look for? Well, if you want to move into a situation alongside every other region, if every other region had the figure of your minimum shared requirement, your minimum shared requirement is your number of leavers plus your numbers of shortfall of agency staff. What that does is that creates an environment and a market dynamic where the pressure is no longer on supplying agency staff. Okay? Yeah, you thought I'd stop then, hadn't you? So the great driver in this market is the supply of vacancies to agencies. Let's get that in the head. The supply of vacancies to agencies. Not the demand of agencies, not agencies trying to recruit your social workers together. They don't work like that. The fact is, it is your supply of vacancies to agencies that fuels that market. And 475.6, if your other figures stay the same, will be enough to significantly reduce that to turn the tide of that agency market. Okay? So, one last figure as well is that your 4.2% on your establishment at the moment means that you've got an absence rate of 97.5 in terms of social workers. Yeah. Now, when you add that to your shortfall, and you can see that you've now got nearly 200 empty desks across the region every day, and that's not including your agency staff. That's that's with your agency staff. You can see that that might be contributing to people burnout and people leaving and things like that. Okay. So, what kind of things do I suggest and recommend? Well, just on the cursory examination of this data, which obviously needs looking into an awful lot more, but heck, I'm doing this for nothing right now, is that your recruitment agility needs to be greater, is that your responsiveness to these situations has not been what it should be, and therefore that's creating a further environment and further pressures for it. There's a potential for an increase in leavers. We've seen that already from what you've said in terms of when we've had that oversupply of social workers where your overall shortfall is actually a negative figure, you'll see that your vacancies drop. Well, what we can see here is that the opposite is now true. So maybe you need to have a focus on some kind of retention package. There's an overall shortage that you need to address within the region. The other thing that I'd recommend is an increase in data reporting, because there is the potential, you can see that line, that curve on some of those figures are going in the wrong direction, and you need to monitor that progress and then monitoring the impact of what you are seeking to do. Also, I suggest that you need a regional approach to increase your supply, and that's both temp and perm. You just need more staff. Saying we need to reduce the number of agency staff, well, yes, but the way that you do that is just to get more of them to start with. You just need more staff. And right now is that I'll make an assessment of everyone whether they're a net contributor to workforce stability across the country or a net detractor. Now, just minor, just short of that, yeah, is that presently you are a net detractor, whereas you have been a net contributor, yeah, to the country overall for the period. But you're in a really good position geographically, if nothing else, to come and address these issues and make some quick wins. And that's the kind of focus that I'm going to make for you. Okay. How do you engage further? Well, is that Vricipedia is part of a wider resource, and you can follow the updates on that on Twitter at Vricipedia. Contact me via Twitter and follow me at FootSockSteve. SOC is short for Future Social, a DFE innovation program that was run in the West Midlands. Read my reviews, they were great. Web address vric.consulting, email me at steve@vricconsulting, and like, subscribe and comment. Share this information. Let's have a conversation going. If you want me to be part of that or even facilitate it, please do let me know. Until then, take care, good luck, and I hope to speak to you soon.